TeamStrub, day 92. Welcome to Baltimore. We are in state number 46, the lovely Maryland. We're right here getting a little breeze from the water, which is fantastic. And I'm joined this afternoon by Rebekah from Living Classroom. So Rebekah, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for coming.
Been a very fun, exciting morning here. So Rebekah, if you want to take a moment, introduce yourself, tell us what you do.
Yep, so my name is Rebekah Meyer. I work for Living Classrooms Foundation. I am our Director of Community Outreach and Volunteerism, which means I work with all of our individual volunteers, interns or students that are doing service hours with us, as well as any group volunteers. We do lots of corporate days of service and group events like that. Okay.
What is Living Classrooms?
Living Classrooms is a nonprofit organization with a wide variety of education, community development, and workforce development programs. We've been around in Baltimore for 30 years, so we're a pretty big organization for being a local organization. Right now, one of our main focus areas is specifically in East Baltimore and having a continuum of services for families here to try and break the cycle of poverty in East Baltimore.
Fantastic. How many different sites are we working at? I mean, you and I walked over to another site this morning. It sounds like this is pretty much all over the place.
We have about 30 different programs between Baltimore and DC, probably about 10 to 15 different physical locations, depending on how you're counting boats and things like that, as whether they are independent sites.
Okay.
So lots of different things going on. I think all told we serve about 30 to 35,000 people a year.
Wow. Okay. What is the Fresh Start program?
Fresh Start is one of our workforce development programs focused on the youth population, so 16 to 19-year-old males who are out of school, which out of school means they've probably dropped out of high school and have definitely had some sort of contact with the juvenile justice system, which is how they get referred to us.
So let's talk about sort of what we did today with the group. Again, I joined with another group today, which was exciting.
Yeah.
Talk about what that group accomplished this morning.
Yeah, so today we did what we call a Fresh Start Leadership Project. Leadership Project means the Fresh Start students became the teachers for the day. And they taught our volunteer group, including you, how to complete a small woodworking project. So some of the volunteers made these planters, which are going to be raffled off at a community event at one of our other sites tomorrow.
Show it there?
It is dry. Can I hold it on? So, built by volunteers, based on instructions from Fresh Start students. And then the group that you were in, we went up to one of our other community centers and finished sanding and staining and filling with flowers some planters that we are giving out to families in that neighborhood. And that neighborhood is called Perkins Homes, and it is the largest public housing development in the city.
Great, great. Where does the money come from for a program like this?
All over the place. Living Classrooms is lucky in that we have a pretty diverse funding base.
Yes.
Programs like this, because it is very closely connected with referrals from the juvenile justice system, we do get some funding through there and through sort of Department of Justice type of grants. Lots of private foundations, corporate foundations, which is part of why we do so many corporate volunteer events, and corporate volunteerism is a big deal for us, as well as individual donations. We have can I do a plug for our fundraiser? We have a big fundraiser coming up on September 25th called Maritime Magic. It's at one of our other buildings right on the water in Fells Point, and expecting almost 100 different restaurants to be there with food. So that event in itself raises a couple $100,000.
And there's going to be details about that on your website?
Absolutely, livingclassrooms.com.
So we'll circle back around to the website here in a minute. As well, why do you do what you do?
Oh man. I've been working in nonprofits in Baltimore for about 7-8 years now. There's a lot of nonprofits in Baltimore.
Sure.
There's a lot of small nonprofits that it can be hard to kind of get a handle on all the different things that people are doing. But I like being a part of something that is, has a bigger goal for the community. One of the things I really like about Living Classrooms is that we do have such a variety of programs. So A, it keeps it interesting. I'm never doing the same thing 2 days in a row. But B, I feel like we have a wide enough reach that there is the real potential here for significant change over time. And we've seen that already, and I can see the vision of it moving forward.
What's your favorite part of your job?
That I get to do something different every day, and that I get to be involved with our programs. I started here as a grant writer, which is incredibly important. I'm happy I have that skill. I like this job because, as you can see, I get to be very hands-on. I get to know the students. I get to know the staff. I'm not just sitting in an office.
So what site are we at right now?
Right now we are on what is called our East Harbor campus, which is, if you're in Baltimore, probably what you think of when you hear Living Classrooms Foundation, because you've probably walked by it and seen the sign and seen the greenhouse and there's a tower and stuff. This site is home to Fresh Start, a program called Bugs, which is an after-school and summer program that uses gardening, and it is home to our charter school called the Fundraisers. So it's home to 3 of our biggest, oldest programs.
There's a huge variety of programs.
Yes.
And so how do you deal with attracting volunteers and maybe trying to get volunteers into the right place?
We are lucky in that we have a lot of people that want to volunteer with us.
Okay.
The challenge is finding that placement. I say that I'm a matchmaker. You know, my challenge every day is I have these people reaching out saying they want to volunteer, which is awesome, and I have programs that have certain needs and figuring out where those things intersect. And whether that's a matter of figuring out schedule, interests, talents. I'd say for me the biggest challenge with volunteerism is finding the right match. People's work schedules are often a barrier, and commitment level. You know, if someone wants to just come every now and then, that's great, but that only works for certain things. If someone wants to come every single day, that's great too, but again, that's not a fit for every single person.
Is this computerized in any way? How do you keep track of your volunteers? Maybe we're moving in that direction?
I would love for it to be computerized. Right now it's a lot of me doing this, sitting and talking with people, running around to different sites.
Must be tricky.
Yeah. I have a lot of piles of paper. Probably shouldn't admit that.
It's okay. No problems. Baltimore is moving into that 21st century there.
Yeah, so I'm becoming more computerized in terms of tracking volunteer hours. We track it monthly and annually and all of that. But you know, the placements, it's so ever-changing that it's hard. I feel like as soon as I put something in writing, put it on our website about what our volunteer needs are, it makes it so permanent, and then a year later someone's asking me about that, I'm like, oh, well, we don't do that anymore, I don't need that anymore. So
sure.
That's the trick, is that when our volunteer needs are constantly evolving, it's hard to put it out there too much in too permanent of a fashion.
Can you feed me a couple of those numbers you mentioned? You keep track of the number of total hours or the total number of volunteers. What sort of scope are we looking at?
Last year we had over 7,000 volunteers and 44,000 volunteer hours. And we are tracking higher for this year.
That must be fun. To sort of play the shell game every day.
Every month I compare to the same month last year.
The city is supportive of this program.
Yeah, we have a very good relationship with the city. We're on city land right now, actually. As you've maybe noticed, we are in a pretty nice area of the city right now. If you had been here 15, 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, would not have been the case. There was nothing here. It was parking lots and factories and nothing happening here, and we got a long-term lease on this land pretty much because no one else wanted it. Now it's become one of the hottest spots of the city, I guess you could say, and so it's interesting how all this has developed around us. We would never be able to work with the Fresh Start guys in this neighborhood now if we were trying to come in at this point, but we're already here, we're part of the neighborhood. Hopefully no one's ever going to kick us out.
Hopefully. I got two more relatively easy questions for you, okay? You're a New York native, as am I. Why Baltimore?
I came here for college and I had to left.
What college?
I went to Johns Hopkins.
When did you graduate?
2007.
So why did you stay in Baltimore?
I'm
going to press until I get an answer.
I initially stayed because I had a job. I didn't have a job anywhere else, so I might as well stay where I had a job.
That's a good reason.
I feel like Baltimore is such a good mix of a big city and a small town. There's lots of different things to do here. I love the neighborhood where I live, that I can walk to lots of different things to do. I'm a block from the park. I'm a 10-minute walk from Bell Point. But it's a small enough city that you can feel like you understand it, that I can walk around and run into people that I know. So it's a manageable sized city where you feel welcome, you can feel like you belong, while still having that big city.
Baltimore hasn't had the best reputation around the nation this summer.
It's not.
Do you sometimes feel that this is an unsafe city in any way?
I think any city can be unsafe. I think what makes Baltimore a little bit different is that things.
I know, I promised you two easy ones.
It's maybe more block by block than other areas, but I think that's also part of what makes it a really interesting place to live. I feel like in some other cities there's very clear, like, this is a very safe, nice area, this is the not nice area. In Baltimore those things live side by side. And you know, in some ways that can sometimes lead to some uncomfortable situations, but I think that's also what makes it a real place to live. And, you know, you can be living in a, you know, up and coming neighborhood, but person next door to you, their family's lived in that house for 60 years. It's still
great. Very last one.
Okay.
Easiest one all day. Where can people learn more about Living Classrooms?
Our website is livingclassrooms.org. We are also on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. I don't know those addresses off the top of my head, but I'm sure if you just Google it,
we'll throw them up on the screen.
Yes.
I'll do the legwork here.
I can send it to you after the fact.
Rebekah, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you.
going to get you to sign the car. So as we think here, you can think about the best piece of advice for a young person.
Okay.
Going to get a couple Snapchat questions up with Rebekah as well, and sign off from Baltimore. Next up is Charlottesville. We'll see you Monday.